Daniel Wallace stood tall at the podium, despite the weight he carried on his shoulders. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched before him, filled with representatives from 200 alien species. Most watched him with bored expressions. Some whispered jokes to each other. A few openly laughed at the human ambassador. He was used to it by now. The massive chamber had been designed to impress and intimidate. Crystal spires reached toward the distant ceiling. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Outside the huge windows, the ringed gas giant of Epsilon Eridani loomed against the blackness of space. Daniel tapped the microphone twice and cleared his throat. The chamber quieted slightly. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," he began. "For 50 years, humanity has been part of this organization. For 50 years, we have contributed our ideas, our labor, and our resources. For 50 years, we have followed your rules and accepted your guidance." High Chancellor Zorix, a tall being with purple skin and 6 eyes arranged in a circle around his head, drummed his long fingers against the arm of his elevated throne. "Ambassador Wallace, we have a full agenda today. Please make your point." Daniel nodded. "My point is simple. As of today, Earth and all human colonies formally withdraw from the Galactic Council." A moment of silence fell across the chamber. Then laughter erupted from dozens of alien throats. Zorix's mouth stretched into what passed for a smile among his species. "Is this some form of human humor I fail to understand?" "No, Chancellor. This is an official notice, approved by every nation on Earth and all 17 human colonies." Daniel held up a data tablet. "The document has already been filed with the Council Records Office. According to your own laws, our withdrawal is effective immediately." From her position at the communications station behind Daniel, Lily Bennett watched the reactions with careful eyes. As the official human recorder for these proceedings, she had documented years of insults and unfair treatment. Now she started recording what might be the most important council session in human history. Zorix waved a dismissive hand. "Very well. Your species was always prone to emotional outbursts. When you reconsider this foolishness, the Council may allow your return, with appropriate penalties, of course." "There will be no reconsideration," Daniel replied. "Humanity has endured enough. For decades, we have been treated as lesser beings. Our technologies have been restricted, our colonies limited, our trade unfairly taxed. Because you are lesser beings," a delegate from the Kroll Empire called out. "Your species only learned to travel between stars a century ago." Daniel turned toward the voice. "Yet in that century, we solved the Graxian plague that had killed millions of your people for 1,000 years. We developed mining techniques that tripled extraction rates across Council space. We created the very communication system you're using right now to translate my words." "Minor contributions," Zorix said. "Contributions you mocked, then took, then claimed as your own," Daniel countered. "No more. Humanity will chart its own path forward." One council member rose from their seat. Unlike the others, Councillor Thrak of the Vargon species looked genuinely concerned. His gray, stone-like face showed the Vargon equivalent of worry. Small, cracks appearing around his eyes. "Ambassador Wallace," Thrak said, "surely there is room for negotiation. Humans have proven valuable in many areas of Council operation." "As servants and fixers, perhaps," Daniel replied. "Never as equals. We gave the Council 50 years to change. It has not. Our decision is final." Zorix laughed loudly. "This is the best news this chamber has heard in a century. The humans will isolate themselves and spare us their constant complaints about fairness and equal treatment." The chamber filled with applause and jeers. Daniel stood silently until the noise subsided. "Effective today," he continued, "all human ships will leave Council space. All human workers will return to Earth or human colonies. All human technologies will cease to be maintained by our engineers." "And how will you survive without Council protection?" asked a delegate from the warlike Drazek Confederation. "We managed for thousands of years before we met you," Daniel said. "We will manage again." Lily Bennett watched as Thrak leaned toward another council member and whispered something urgent. The other alien's eyes widened in what looked like sudden understanding. Daniel gathered his notes. One final notice. All human communications channels with Council space will be closed under the Silent Retreat Protocol. We will maintain an automated defense perimeter at the edges of our territory. This is not meant as a hostile action, merely a guarantee of our privacy. Silent retreat? Zorix asked, a hint of curiosity breaking through his arrogance. It means exactly what it sounds like, Daniel replied. Humanity is leaving, quietly, completely. As the human delegation turned to leave, laughter and mockery followed them. Daniel's face remained calm, but Lily could see the pain in his eyes. 50 years of trying to be accepted, all ending in ridicule. The delegation walked through the grand hallways toward the landing bay where their ship waited. Council staff they passed looked surprised at the formal Earth uniforms and serious faces. Was it always going to end this way? Lily asked softly as they walked. Daniel sighed. I hope not, but the Council never saw us as equals. They never will. In the docking bay, hundreds of humans waited by the diplomatic vessel, the last humans in Council space, ready to go home. As the ship lifted off, Lily sent one final message to all Council channels. Farewell. We wish you prosperity in our absence. Then she activated the Silent Retreat Protocol. One by one, every human communication channel went dark. The ship slipped into faster-than-light travel, heading toward Earth. Back in the Council chamber, the celebration continued. High Chancellor Zorix raised his hands for silence. Let this day be remembered, he announced. The day the Council finally rid itself of humanity's constant complaints. Only Councillor Thrak remained in his seat, looking troubled. When another delegate asked what was wrong, Thrak replied, They did so much more than we ever acknowledged. I fear we've made a terrible mistake. Zorix overheard the comment and laughed again. Nonsense. The Council thrived for 10,000 years before humans appeared. We will continue to thrive now that they're gone. Thrak shook his head slowly. I'm not so sure, Chancellor. I'm not so sure at all. As the Council meeting resumed, no one noticed. The first system failure. A minor communication glitch. A small repair that would have taken a human engineer minutes to fix. The first of many problems that would soon cascade across Council space. The humans had departed. And soon, very soon, the Galactic Council would regret it. 6 months passed since the humans left. At first, life in Council space continued as normal. Ships moved between stars. Trade flowed between worlds. The Council met and made decisions as it had for thousands of years. But small problems began to appear. Noah Russell frowned at the numbers on his screen. As Trade Administrator for the Galactic Council, he tracked the movement of goods between worlds. The latest reports showed something strange. These can't be right, he muttered to himself. His office overlooked the grand plaza of Nexus Station. Outside his window, aliens from 200 species walked, flew, or slithered past. None of them were human. Not anymore. Noah tapped his screen and called his assistant. Bring me the supply reports from last year. I need to check something. An hour later, his desk was covered with data tablets. The pattern was clear and troubling. Across Council space, critical supplies were becoming scarce. Medical equipment, specialized metals, certain food items, all showing the same downward trend. All items that humans had once helped produce or transport. Noah prepared a report for the Council. He tried to keep his language neutral. Supply chain disruptions. Temporary shortages. Adjustment period. Words that wouldn't cause panic but would alert the Council to the growing problem. Meanwhile, on the other side of Nexus Station, engineer Olivia Peterson was facing a crisis of her own. The station's main power grid had failed again, the third time this week. How long until it's fixed? Asked Station Director Volmar, his blue tentacles waving in frustration. Olivia wiped sweat from her forehead. We're doing our best, sir, but without the human engineers who designed this system, I don't want excuses, Volmar snapped. I want solutions. Olivia bit her tongue. She was one of the few humans who had stayed behind when Earth withdrew from the Council. Her contract with the engineering guild gave her that right. But every day she regretted her decision more. The system was designed to be maintained by human hands, she explained. Our fingers are more nimble than most species. The access panels are too small for Graxians and too delicate for Vargons. Then redesign it, Volmar demanded. That would take months, maybe years. Volmar stormed away, leaving Olivia to solve the impossible problem. She looked at her small team, all non-humans trying to understand human technology. They were smart and willing, but they lacked the training and physical abilities the job required. Olivia made a decision. That night, she packed her few belongings. The last transport ship for Earth would leave tomorrow. She would be on it. Across council space, similar scenes played out. Machines broke down, systems failed. Problems that humans once solved quietly now became major crises. In the outer systems, Security Director Kalen received reports of pirate attacks. The sleek, dangerous ships struck trading vessels, then vanished into the darkness between stars. His security fleet seemed powerless to stop them. Where are they coming from? He demanded during an emergency meeting. An analyst pointed to a star map. This region, sir, the Karishi Expanse. Kalen's inner eyelids blinked in surprise. That's impossible. The human patrol fleets kept that region secure for decades. The human fleets are gone, sir, the analyst reminded him. They withdrew with all their ships 6 months ago. Kalen should have known this. He should have reassigned other ships to patrol the Expanse. But like so many council officials, he had never paid attention to what the humans actually did. Their contributions had been invisible until they were gone. On a medical research station orbiting Proxima Centauri, Dr. Samantha Clark faced growing hostility. As the leading expert on viral mutations, her work had saved millions of lives across council space, but now her alien colleagues treated her with suspicion or outright anger. "Why are you still here?" Dr. Jrex asked during a lab meeting. "Your kind abandoned us." Samantha tried to focus on her work. "I stayed because my research isn't finished. The Talarian fever still needs a cure. Research you'll take back to Earth," another colleague said, "to help only humans." The accusations hurt, but Samantha couldn't deny the truth. When her work was done, she would return to Earth. The Council's treatment of humans had shown her where her loyalty should lie. That night, she received a message from the last human transport ship. "Final departure in 3 days. Confirm your passage." Samantha looked at her lab, at the samples and data she had collected over years. The cure was close. She could feel it. But she would not complete it here, among those who scorned her people. She began downloading her research to portable drives. On Nexus Station, an emergency council meeting was called. Large screens displayed alarming statistics as Security Director Kalen presented his report. "Crime has increased 300% in the outer systems," he said. "Mechanical failures are up 780% across council facilities, and we're seeing critical shortages of certain medications and technologies." High Chancellor Zorix, who had once laughed at humanity's departure, now looked concerned. "How long until these issues are resolved?" Trade Administrator Russell spoke. "Up. That's just it, Chancellor. We don't know how to resolve many of them. The humans handled these matters." "Then we'll force them to return," a Drazic delegate suggested. "The Council has the military power to compel Earth's cooperation." "Counselor," Thrak rose from his seat. "That would violate our own laws. Humanity's withdrawal was entirely legal. Any military action against them would be an act of war, a war I doubt we could win." "What do you mean?" Zorix demanded. "The Council's forces vastly outnumber Earth's military." "Perhaps," Thrak agreed. "But consider this. If humans could solve problems we didn't even know existed while living under our restrictions, what might they accomplish now, free of our rules?" The chamber fell silent as the council members considered this troubling thought. The silence was broken by an alarm. The station's power grid had failed again. The emergency lights cast an eerie red glow over the council chamber. "Get it fixed," Zorix shouted. A station manager appeared on a flickering screen. "We can't, Chancellor. Engineer Peterson left on the transport ship this morning." She was the last human who understood the power systems. As darkness fell over the council chamber, Thrax spoke softly. This is only the beginning. We never truly saw what the humans did for us. Now we will learn, through their absence. Outside, the last human transport ship pulled away from the station, carrying Dr. Clark, Engineer Peterson, and dozens of other humans returning to Earth. They watched through viewports as Nexus Station grew smaller behind them, its lights flickering. Uncertainly in the darkness of space, the ship's captain turned to his passengers. Next stop, Earth. One passenger asked, Will they be okay without us? The captain shrugged. That's not our problem anymore. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, hundreds of mechanical systems across council space began to fail. The problems humans had quietly solved for years were now becoming crises no one else knew how to fix. The council had laughed when humans departed. They weren't laughing anymore. 1 year had passed since the humans left council space. What began as small problems had grown into a galaxy-wide crisis. High Chancellor Zorix stared out the window of his office. Once, the view had shown a bustling spaceport with hundreds of ships coming and going. Now, barely a dozen vessels moved through the docking area. Most were emergency transports carrying food to worlds facing starvation. A soft chime announced the arrival of his advisors. Zorix turned to face them, noting their grim expressions. Tell me, he said simply. The economic advisor spoke first. 3 major council species are now experiencing food shortages, Chancellor. The Graxians, the Voldari, and the Nexites. Their agricultural systems are failing without human maintenance. Can't other engineers fix them? Zorix demanded. They've tried, but the humans designed many of these systems with subtle efficiencies that other species don't understand. Each attempt to repair them has only made things worse. The security advisor stepped forward next. Piracy is no longer our only concern, Chancellor. Organized criminal empires have formed in regions where council authority has weakened. They're starting to challenge us openly. Zorix slammed his fist on the desk. How did this happen in just 1 year? The senior advisor, an ancient Vargon named Kral, spoke softly. We never noticed what the humans actually did, Chancellor. They were everywhere, fixing problems before they became crises. They worked in jobs we thought were beneath us. They patrolled regions we considered unimportant. They maintained systems we didn't understand. And now they're gone, Zorix said. Yes, and the council is paying the price. Zorix looked at a data tablet showing his approval ratings. Once nearly universal, his support had collapsed as the crisis deepened. Several council species were openly calling for his removal. We need the humans back, he admitted finally. Prepare a diplomatic mission to Earth. Offer them whatever they want. Trade concessions, technology access, colony rights, anything to persuade them to return. His advisors nodded and left to carry out his orders. Alone in his office, Zorix wondered if it was already too late. At the edge of council space, a formation of human warships moved in perfect coordination. The sleek vessels represented Earth's final military withdrawal from all council territories. On the bridge of the flagship, Fleet Commander Victoria Hayes watched her tactical display. 100 ships under her command, heading home after years of service to the Galactic Council. Commander, her communications officer called. We're receiving a distress signal from a council transport. They're under attack by pirates. Range is 2 light minutes from our position. Victoria frowned. Her orders were clear. Complete withdrawal from council space with no delays or detours. But the moral choice was equally clear. Change course to intercept, she ordered. Prepare combat. Systems. 20 minutes later, her ships arrived at the scene. 3 pirate vessels surrounded a civilian transport ship, their weapons tearing through its defenses. Warning shots across their bows, Victoria commanded. Let them know we mean business. The human warships fired, their advanced weapons easily outmatching the pirate vessels. 2 of the pirates immediately broke off their attack and fled. The third turned to fight, but a precise shot from Victoria's flagship disabled its engines. The transport is hailing us, Commander, the communications officer reported. On the main screen, the face of a Graxian captain appeared. His scaled skin showed signs of injuries and smoke filled the bridge behind him. Thank the stars, he said. We thought we were doomed. The pirates disabled our engines and were about to board us. We'll escort you to the nearest council outpost, Victoria said. But you're human, the Graxian captain noted with surprise. Why would you help us after the council treated your species so poorly? Victoria's expression remained professional. Because it's the right thing to do. And because that's what humans do, we help when we can. The rescue took 3 days, delaying Victoria's fleet on their journey home. But when they finally resumed their course toward Earth, the crew stood a little taller. They were the last humans to serve in council space, and they had ended their service with honor. On Earth, a remarkable transformation was underway. Freed from council restrictions, human innovation was exploding in every field. Historian Jillian Rodriguez walked through the halls of the New Washington Archive, the largest repository of council records on Earth. She had spent the past year studying the history of the Galactic Council, looking for patterns that might explain their treatment of humanity. Today, she had found something important. Jillian entered the office of Earth President Morgan, who greeted her warmly. Dr. Rodriguez, what brings you to the White House? Jillian placed an ancient data crystal on the president's desk. This contains council records dating back nearly 50,000 years, sir. I've discovered something disturbing. Humanity isn't the first species to leave the council. The president leaned forward with interest. Explain. At least 7 other species have withdrawn from the council throughout its history. Each time, the pattern was the same. The council treated them as inferiors. The species left in frustration. And then what? The council suffered severe problems just like now. But instead of changing their ways, they erased most records of these species and continued as before. President Morgan frowned. So, this is a cycle? The council drives away helpful species, suffers consequences, then forgets the lesson? Exactly, sir. It's a pattern of institutional arrogance spanning tens of thousands of years. Their conversation was interrupted by a security alert. A non-human ship had been detected approaching Earth's defensive perimeter. In Earth orbit, the automated defense platforms activated as a small merchant vessel approached from council space. Advanced scanning systems analyzed the ship thoroughly before allowing it to transmit a message. Aboard the vessel, Captain Kevin Winters nervously faced the communication screen. Though born on a council world, his species had once been close, allies with humans. Now he risked everything on this unauthorized mission. This is Captain Winters of the trading vessel Star Voyager, he announced. I seek permission to enter Earth space for the purpose of establishing trade relations. A human face appeared on his screen. Captain Winters, this is Earth Defense Command. All council vessels are currently restricted from Earth space under BIAO, the Silent Retreat Protocol. I understand, Kevin replied. But the situation in council space is desperate. Millions face food shortages. Medical supplies are running out. I hope to negotiate. Your request is denied, Captain. Earth is closed to the council by unanimous vote of our government. Kevin's hopes fell. Then the council was right. Humans have abandoned the galaxy. The human officer's expression softened slightly. Not abandoned, Captain. We simply chose to focus on our own development without interference. Your ship's sensors have surely detected our defense perimeter. It didn't exist a year ago. Neither did the orbital stations you can see around Earth. Kevin looked at his sensor readings with new understanding. The defensive network surrounding Earth was vast and technologically advanced, far beyond anything the Council possessed. What happens now? He asked. Now you return to Council space with a message. Earth is not interested in rejoining the Council, but in 6 months we will consider limited humanitarian aid for civilian populations in need. That's all I'm authorized to tell you. As Kevin's ship turned away from Earth, he caught glimpses of massive construction projects in orbit. New ships, unlike any he'd seen before. Stations that dwarfed anything in Council space, all built in just 1 year. For the first time, he understood why the Council leadership was afraid. Humans hadn't been held back by Council membership. They had been restrained. Now that restraint was gone and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 years had passed since humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council. On the Council's central world, Emergency alarms had become so common that most citizens barely noticed them anymore. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives from 200 species gathered for what might be the most important meeting in the Council's history. Many seats stood empty. Delegates from worlds too damaged by the ongoing crisis to send representatives. High Chancellor Zorix had aged visibly. The stress of the past 3 years had taken a toll on his once proud bearing. He called the session to order with a tired voice. "Honored delegates," he began, "we face a choice today that will determine the future of the Galactic Council. The resolution before us is simple. Do we formally request Earth's return as a full and equal member of the Council?" Murmurs spread through the chamber. The word equal caught everyone's attention. Never before had the Council offered equal status to a relatively new species. Councillor Thrak, who had warned of problems when humans first left, now led the discussion. 3 years ago, many in this chamber laughed when humans departed. No, one is laughing now. He activated a holographic display showing statistics. 1/3 of Council worlds face food shortages. Trade has decreased by 60%. Piracy has increased by 400%. And technological progress has essentially stopped. "We know the problems," shouted a delegate from the Drazic Confederation. "But crawling back to the humans makes us look weak." Thrak nodded patiently. "Pride is a luxury we can no longer afford. The simple truth is, we need humans more than they need us." After hours of debate, the vote was taken. By a narrow margin, the Council approved sending a high-level delegation to Earth to request humanity's return under terms of full equality. Thrak, chosen to lead this critical mission, knew it might already be too late. Reports from the edge of human space suggested Earth had changed dramatically in the years since withdrawal. 3 days later, Thrak's diplomatic vessel approached Earth's defensive perimeter. What they found shocked even the most prepared delegates. The defensive barrier around Earth's solar system was vast, a network of automated platforms and patrol ships stretching billions of miles. Sensors detected technology far beyond anything the Council possessed. "We're being scanned," reported the ship's captain. A human voice came through the communication system. "Council diplomatic vessel, this is Earth Defense Command. State your purpose." Thrak stepped forward. "This is Councillor Thrak leading an official delegation from the Galactic Council. We request permission to meet with Earth's government on a matter of utmost importance." There was a long pause before the response came. "Your request is being processed. Please maintain position." While they waited, the Council delegates stared in wonder at the changes visible even from their distant position. Massive space stations orbited Earth. Construction projects were visible on Mars and Venus. Ships of unusual design moved between planets at speeds that shouldn't have been possible. "How did they advance so quickly?" a delegate whispered. "Without our restrictions," Thrak replied simply. Finally, permission came through. Their ship was directed to dock at a massive space station that had not existed 3 years ago. Admiral George Phillips and diplomat Lauren Miller waited in the docking bay as the Council delegation disembarked. Both wore the simple but elegant uniforms of Earth's new defense and diplomatic corps. "Welcome to Unity Station," Lauren said. "I'm Diplomat Miller, and this is Admiral Phillips. We'll be your hosts during your stay." Thrak bowed slightly. "We are honored by your welcome. The Galactic Council has sent us on a matter of great importance." "We know why you're here," Admiral Phillips said. "But before any discussions begin, we'd like to show you what humanity has been doing since our departure from the Council." The tour that followed left the Council delegation speechless. Unity Station itself was a marvel, a structure larger than any in Council space, built in less than 2 years. It housed 50,000 humans working on scientific and engineering projects. Engineer Alan Carter met them in one of the research sections. "The defensive perimeter you pass through is just the visible part of our advancement," he explained. "Once freed from Council technology restrictions, we made leaps in quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and energy production." He showed them a small device that fit in the palm of his hand. "This power cell contains more energy than the main reactor on your ship. We've solved our energy crisis completely. Next, They visited a medical bay where research director Elizabeth Foster demonstrated new treatments that had extended human lifespan by decades. Without council regulations limiting genetic research, we've cured diseases that plagued us for centuries. Throughout the tour, the council delegates noticed something striking. Humans seemed genuinely happy. There was none of the stress and fear visible on council worlds. Children played in designated recreation areas. Workers moved with purpose rather than exhaustion. Finally, they were escorted to a conference room with a spectacular view of Earth. Diplomat Miller got straight to the point. We understand the Council wishes to offer humanity membership as equals. We appreciate the gesture, but humanity has voted on this matter already. We decline. The delegates erupted in protest. Thrak raised his hand for silence. Please understand our situation, he said. The Council is facing collapse. Millions are suffering. We admit our mistakes in how we treated humanity. We're asking, no, begging, for your help. Admiral Phillips nodded with sympathy. We are aware of the situation. Our long-range sensors and intelligence networks have kept us informed. But rejoining the Council would mean accepting constraints on our development again. Earth is not willing to do that. Then the Council will fall, Thrak said sadly, and the resulting chaos will harm countless innocent beings. Lauren Miller smiled for the first time. We didn't say we wouldn't help. We said we wouldn't rejoin the Council. She activated a holographic display showing a new political structure. This is our proposal. The Human Alliance, a new organization, separate from the Council but willing to establish diplomatic and trade relations with Council worlds that meet our standards for ethical governance. Thrak studied the proposal with growing hope. This is not what we expected. Humanity doesn't want revenge, Admiral Phillips explained. We simply want to chart our own course while helping others who treat us with respect. Thrak looked at his fellow delegates. I believe this may be the best solution available to us. But I must ask, what about Council worlds already suffering? Will you offer aid? Lauren nodded. Humanitarian aid is already being prepared. Food shipments for the hardest-hit worlds will begin within days. Medical supplies will follow. But understand this. We'll deal directly with individual worlds, not through the Council. As the meeting concluded, Thrak asked one final question. How did humanity advance so quickly once you left us? Engineer Carter laughed. We were never lacking in ideas or abilities. We were only lacking in freedom to pursue them. The moment those chains were removed, humanity simply did what it does best. We invented, we built, we solved problems. The delegation returned to their ship with mixed emotions, relief that help would come, but uncertainty about the Council's future. Humanity wasn't returning, but perhaps something better was emerging from the crisis. As their ship pulled away from Unity Station, Thrak watched Earth grow smaller through the viewport. The blue planet, once considered an insignificant newcomer to galactic society, now held the fate of hundreds of worlds in its hands. The Council had laughed when humans departed. Now humanity would decide if the Council survived at all. 5 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The grand meeting hall of New Geneva gleamed in the morning sunlight. Once it had been the headquarters of the old United Nations. Now it served as the central gathering place for Earth's global government. President Ryan Morgan stood at the large windows watching delegates from 30 alien worlds arrive for the historic ceremony. Each species had passed through a careful vetting process before being allowed to establish relations with the Human Alliance. Nervous? Asked Ambassador Melissa Wright, joining him at the window. The president smiled. A little. 5 years ago, we were treated as barely civilized newcomers in the galactic community. Today, those same species come to us as supplicants. Not all the same species, Melissa corrected. The Council has changed significantly. She was right. After the delegation's visit to Earth 2 years ago, a revolution had swept through the Galactic Council. Many worlds, seeing the benefits of direct relations with humanity, had broken away from Council control. Others had demanded reforms. The once mighty Council now consisted of fewer than 100 worlds. Its new leader was a familiar face, Thrak, who had risen to the position of High Chancellor on a platform of complete reform. Chancellor Thrack's shuttle is approaching, an aide announced. President Morgan nodded. It's time. The ceremony hall, filled with representatives from across Earth and its colonies, along with delegates from the 30 non-human worlds that had met humanity's standards for alliance. At the center of the room stood a simple table with the Equal Standing Treaty, the document that would formalize relations between humanity and these selected worlds. Chancellor Thrack entered with a small delegation. The council leader looked different from the last time humans had seen him. His stone-like face showed new cracks, signs of age among his species, but also a sense of purpose that hadn't been there before. President Morgan stepped forward to greet him. Chancellor Thrack, welcome to Earth. President Morgan, thank you. For this opportunity, Thrack replied. My first visit to your world's surface is a profound honor. Together they moved to their positions beside the treaty table, where cameras would broadcast the signing ceremony across Earth and to hundreds of worlds beyond. Integration. Director Paul Nelson stood nearby, ready to begin implementing the phased program that would gradually introduce alien representatives to human society. His task would be challenging, ensuring that the aliens understood human culture and values before any deeper connections were established. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history, President Morgan began. 5 years ago, humanity chose isolation rather than continued disrespect. We did not make this choice lightly, nor did we make it out of anger. We made it because we needed to discover our own potential without constraints. Screens around the hall showed images of humanity's accomplishments during those 5 years. The terraforming of Mars, now home to 10 million humans. The orbital rings around Earth that had solved overcrowding and resource limitations. The fleet of exploration vessels pushing beyond the former boundaries of known space. We did not depart to teach the galaxy a lesson, Morgan continued. Yet a lesson was learned nonetheless. No species thrives through domination and condescension. True progress comes through cooperation and mutual respect. Chancellor Thrack stepped forward for his address. The reformed council I represent today bears little resemblance to the organization humanity left. We have learned through painful experience that arrogance leads to stagnation. Today, I offer something unprecedented in the council's history, an official apology. A murmur ran through the crowd. In its 10,000 years of existence, the Galactic Council had never apologized to anyone. On behalf of the Council, I apologize for our treatment of humanity. We failed to recognize your unique gifts. We imposed restrictions rather than offering partnership. We mocked when we should have learned. These mistakes cost us dearly, and we are still working to repair the damage. Cultural Attaché. Susan Mitchell watched from the sidelines. Her work creating educational programs that highlighted both human and alien achievements had helped build the foundation for this moment. Under her guidance, humans had learned to appreciate alien cultures without feeling inferior, while alien visitors had learned to respect humanity's rapid progress without feeling threatened. President Morgan and Chancellor Thrack moved to the treaty table. With careful ceremony, they signed the Equal Standing Treaty, establishing formal relations between the Human Alliance and the reformed Galactic Council. This treaty does not merge our organizations, Morgan explained to the assembled delegates. The Human Alliance will remain independent, but it establishes rules for trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense that benefit all our worlds. As the ceremony concluded, an aide hurried to the president's side and whispered urgently in his ear. President Morgan's eyes widened slightly before he composed himself. Chancellor Thrack, honored delegates, he said. I've just received news that our deep space exploration vessels have detected signals from beyond the edge of known space. It appears we're not alone in the void between galaxies. The announcement caused immediate excitement. Chancellor Thrack turned to the president. What do these signals suggest? We don't know yet, but facing this new discovery will require the best minds from all our worlds. Thrack nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps this is why the universe brought our species together despite our difficult beginning. Some challenges are too great for any one civilization to face alone. As the formal proceedings ended, President Morgan invited Chancellor Thrak to view Earth's latest technological marvel, a planetary defense shield that could protect an entire world from asteroid impacts or orbital bombardment. Remarkable, Thrak said as they watched the demonstration. May I ask what drove humanity to develop such powerful technology in such a short time? Morgan smiled. Necessity and freedom. When the Council restricted us, we saw it as protection. Only after leaving did we realize those restrictions had been chains. Once removed, our progress accelerated beyond even our own expectations. And now you're willing to share these advances with other worlds? With worlds that treat us as equals, yes. That was always the missing piece in our relationship with the Council. Equal standing, equal respect. As they looked out over the new Geneva skyline, where humans and aliens now walked together as partners rather than as rulers and subjects, Morgan added one final thought. 5 years ago, many Council members laughed when we left. They thought, we needed the Council more than it needed us. They were wrong. But the truth is we all need each other, just not on terms that diminish any of us. From the observation deck, they could see all the way to the horizon where construction had begun on the Galactic Embassy complex, a place where hundreds of species would eventually gather as equals. In orbit above, the first joint human-alien research vessel prepared for launch, its mission to investigate the mysterious signals from the void. Its crew included humans, former Council species, and representatives from worlds that had never joined either organization. The ship's name was visible on its gleaming hull, New Beginning. The galaxy had changed forever when humans departed. Now it was changing again as humanity returned to the stars, not as junior partners but as leaders and equals in a community they had helped reshape through their absence and their return. And beyond known space, something waited to test this new alliance in ways none of them could yet imagine.